Brothers and sisters and friends, this afternoon we want to talk about the ballot or the bullet. The ballot or the bullet explains itself. We have a fight that's common to all of us. We suffer political oppression, economic exploitation, and social degradation. Today it's time to stop singing and start swinging.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Hey.
First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy to God.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us on this May 12th, 2023, day before the general elections.
Man.
And we got special guest John Ewing running for mayor coming in today. That's the status of what's going on. We appreciate everybody that's getting up early and joining us. It's going to be a great conversation. Do us a favor and share the show on your Facebook page, and also if you're on YouTube checking us out, like and subscribe. Really appreciate that very morning. First and foremost, I see people in the chat chiming up. Yeah, man, Judy Prenzler. I'm gonna give you your shout out first because today's your day. Judy Prenzler's birthday today.
Hey,
it's happy Monday morning. Happy your day to you. Appreciate you getting up early on your day and joining us. So
yeah. Any plans?
Any plans? Yeah, right. You guys got a nice dinner prepared, planned out for later. What you got going on? That's what I do. On mine these days, it's about the extent of how much I celebrate. Let's go to dinner.
No grub.
It's like every other day.
I don't know. Judy like to cut a little rug.
She does like to cut a little rug. That's right. Yeah, let us know what you're doing. Lady Keiser gives us a happy, marvelous Monday to all. I appreciate that. Michelle Moreno says good morning, everyone. RG gives us a morning, y'all, up early. Marla Harrison says good morning, First Sky family. Yeah, good morning to y'all. Appreciate everybody coming on in and joining us early again. It's going to be a great discussion today. Of course, we got to talk a lot about what's happening in the frame of time. This is the ballot and the bullet season. Yeah. And yeah, man. So this is the thing that we've been working for, getting up to is tomorrow. Tomorrow is the day. So we all know that we're trying to get our last bits of discussion in before the general election tomorrow that's happening May 13th. Do yourself a favor and double check your polling place today so that you can make sure that you're at the right spot tomorrow and make sure that your ID is handy as well, because we're in the realm of things there.
Man.
Yeah.
The real one, not the fake one. The real one.
Yeah. I want to get in the club, but you know,
the
real one. Yeah, so that's what's happening. The important date's happening tomorrow, of course, 13th. You can actually early vote up until today if you take it down to 12220 West Center Road. If you don't get down there today to turn it in early, then you're going to have to go to your polling place tomorrow. I made the mistake one year going down to the voting office on the day of. They're like, nah, you got to go back and go to your poll. Oh, okay. Yeah, but they helped me find out where my polling place was when I was there, and then I just drove straight over. So if you don't get in your early voting today, then of course polls open tomorrow at your particular polling place. Definitely check it out. Shout out to Precious McKesson for giving us this information, and of course this is going to be, might have a new mayor.
Man,
might have a new mayor. Very close. We'll be talking about it. Close races all over the place too. Of course, District 2, Ben Gray and Lavanya Goodwin is the hot one. But also Ron Hugg and Andrew Adams. We got a chance to speak to Andrew Adams finally this last week. We had hit and miss schedule situations. Nobody's fault, but we just couldn't get with him. But we finally did. Ron Hugg never reached back out to us, so we didn't get to talk to him. But Andrew Adams has some interesting things to say, and we'll definitely be talking about some of the things that he said today as well, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, it'll be a really interesting conversation. Shout out to everybody who's been doing all the hard work. We're definitely getting down to people promoting, endorsing, kind of telling everybody what decisions they're making and stuff like that. So really interesting stuff that's happening right now. And we'll talk a lot about it today. Jenny Prince says, lunch with friends. No dancing scheduled yet.
Oh, yet? Hold out.
Never know. A little impromptu cutting of the rug.
Hey, you can dance anywhere, anytime.
Mark Manor gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. Also, RG said, slide streetcar Sally up on out of here. He's ready for her to go, and let's get a new mayor. A lot of people have been talking about that too. And you're right. The race is really close, actually. between John Ewing and Mayor Stothard. So
Man.
never know. I mean, we really might be getting something new. So we will definitely see lots to talk about today. And stay tuned. Special guest John Ewing will be visiting us today. So we'll be talking to him as well. Try to give him enough time in the hour to talk and ask some questions. Get your questions ready. I definitely have a few of my own. So yeah, getting ready for that. How you feeling today, buddy?
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to speaking to Brother Ewing. I'm actually glad that media in the community doing a good job, man. I do want to give a shout out to Brother Bill King. I see he had Streetcar Sally up on there. Mean Gene came on the scene, bossing with Bill King.
Yep.
So yeah. Shout out to us.
Yeah, man, I love it. Yeah, it's definitely important. I would like to comment on that as well. This season of voting has never been more full of. Friends of First Sky Omaha has been overwhelmed. Our email address, everything. Yeah, this is not us putting a bunch of stuff up about Ewing and endorsing everybody. This is you, the community, that's like really on it. And I've never seen so many political posts associated with First Sky in my life, but it is something that I did talk to one of the people running that said that. They were like, well, you guys' platform, the platform that you run in this whole kind of ecosystem of local, citizen journalists and platforms and stuff like that is very, very important. We're the ones talking to the people, and they can't get that in other places. So I'm glad that they're seeing the value, and I'm glad that we're part of that conversation. So that's what's up. Appreciate that.
Big time. But yeah, other than that, man, I'm feeling good, feeling great. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Anxious about this week. Like I said, vote day is tomorrow. Yeah. And we're just going to continue to grind and do what we do. And summer's coming up. There's going to be lots to talk about, all the events that are coming up this summer. Trying to prepare something for Friday so we can talk about it a little bit. But yeah, other than that, just kind of, it's getting warm out. 80s today, 90s tomorrow. So the summer is here and things are going to be different for real.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of that, it already kicked off. We'll be getting into a little bit of the festivities later on in the show, some drama. But before then, what's going on? What's the word?
Yeah, that's what the Mama got in the chat saying, good morning, fam. Appreciate you.
Hey.
Also, Black Dynamite says, good morning, y'all. He says, there's always time for a second hour. Starting early.
Hey, stay on it, man. I actually have to admire that.
Yeah, all about it, man. Yeah, we might have to change up next season for real because, it's being asked for. We'll jump into a few of the things that are going on in the community. Of course, we talked about this being vote day and so on and so forth. Make sure that you know where your polling place is. Tomorrow is the day. You have up until today to go to the votes. What's the name of that office?
Polling.
Oh, I can't remember. Yeah,
the election office, I believe.
Election office. Thank you. 12220 West Center Road. If you are voting early and you have your early voting ballot, you can fill that out. Take that down to the center today. But hey, you might as well wait till the hot day tomorrow, which is the 13th. Make sure you know where your polling place is, and make sure you have your ID. And do the thing. The thing. It's going down. Also, put this on your. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Didn't want to show that quite yet. Put this on your calendar. May 16th, Rebuild and Transform is going down. Shout out to Empowerment Network for putting on this. This is going to be their 18th, I believe. Yeah, 18th annual event. It's going to be at CHI. I still call them Quest Center sometime.
I'm gonna call Quest.
I'm calling Quest. CHI Health Center is going down Friday, May 16th, 2025. It's kind of a all-day event. You can register at RTV Omaha and definitely check it out. You can see a lot of the speakers that are going to be there, symposiums and all kinds of things that are happening at the 18th annual Rebuild the Village Conference.
Man,
quite interesting thing to do. And man, check out all the venues or the businesses that are connected in the network that are going to be represented there. And go around and talk about it, man. Be a part of the network because it's gonna be something heavy out here. It's along that lines of what Buddy always says. We're all we got, but that's enough.
Man, big time
in a big way. Also, what's going down is tomorrow there's gonna be rides to the ballot. So bus to ballot. This is May 13th. Free rides on Metro. If you need a ride to get to your polling place, you can jump on the Metro for free. Orbit and Moby. Shout out to Clarice Dombeck, who's been posting these. Also, this is a ride to the polls. Use the promo code VOTE2020 on Bicycle app to purchase a 24-hour pass. So you can take some of those electronic bikes over to your polling place if you want to for free. Yeah, no excuses. Also coming up here is Cocktails and Conversations. This is something that's hosted by Omaha Star. It's going to be held at the Shirley Tyree Theater on the 15th. It's happening in 3 days. You're invited to mix and mingle with the Omaha Star team. Shout out to Terry Sanders, and the crew over there that's going to have a little bit of cocktails and conversations. I'm so glad they're activating that space over at the Shirley Tyree Theater because it's a beautiful space, man. I was thinking myself, it's like if you wanted to host a little cocktail conversation situation right there in the lobby, you don't even got to use the theater, just be in the beautiful lobby hanging out and mix and mingling. So shout out to Omaha Star for seeing that vision and jumping in big time. Speaking of Union for Contemporary Art, which is where the Shirley Tyree Theater is, yeah, the brother, he's going to be showing up here pretty soon. May 17th, Nathan Murray's show is going to open up. So get ready for this because this is going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fanfare and stuff around what the union's doing here. Put this on your calendar as well. Also, we talked to Clarice Dombeck has posted some things here on every second Tuesday of the month, monthly housing roundtable meeting. Everybody's trying to get this conversation about affordable housing going. You can go down to, I'm not sure where this is at. I got to get some information on where. But
Downtown Library.
Do you see that? Oh, right in front of me. Yeah, with the big arrow, the big green arrow at it. Okay,
Yeah.
Downtown Library on Jones Street, right across from the elevator spaces. So appreciate them coming down there. And if you can't make it down there, you can join virtually on Zoom. So shout out to Clarice Dombeck. Go to her page to get more information on this monthly housing roundtable meeting that's happening tomorrow as well. Also, unicameral still going on. We're still in session. You still a lot of things to learn. So shout out to Swing Left Nebraska who puts this Unpacking the Unicameral podcast on. You can get it wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcast or Spotify or wherever. This is going to be week 18, and they'll be discussing what's going on this week in the unicameral. Shout out to Leah Keister and everybody who's behind this podcast here. A lot of good information. So appreciate that very much. Also, don't forget to put on your calendar this coming up, man. Block Party 2 is happening. Shout out to Omaha Performing Arts, Culture House. We talked about this the other day. This is going to be so dope, man. Mr. Longe, CL Smooth, man, Ed OG, DJ Mel Star, DJ Mr. Soul's going to be on deck, man. Brother Alvarez. I mean, like, this is going to be jam-packed. Of course, Marcy Yates is going to be there and, you know, everybody else. This is going to be something else. I can't even believe that this is happening. Shout out to Omaha Performing Arts, Hip Hop Lab, and everybody that's behind putting this together, these hip hop labs together. Lots of stuff happening right before then on May 15th. Culture Talk, So Fresh, So Clean with Marcy Yates, April Walker, Rick Edwards, and Street Lotta. It's going down on Culture House. We're putting up this little Culture House calendar everywhere. We'll put it on Friends of First Sky too. And it shows you Dry Ice with Cowgirl Eastern happening May 15th at 8 o'clock. And then, of course, the next day is the Hip Hop Lab block party. So shout out to Marcy Yates for coming on just recently and letting us know about the stuff that's going on. If you missed his show, you can go back to YouTube and check it out and get his interview and find out what's going on as far as the culture is concerned. I really feel like he's at the forefront of everything culture wise. And it's going down, and I'm really happy to see it. So that's what's going on. Go ahead, check out our YouTube page while you're over there as well. We got new candidate, get to know your candidate interviews up. We just did Pete Festerson the other day as well. He's up now. And also Andrew Adams, who we were talking about today. Pete Festerson is running in District 1 and Andrew Adams is running in District 4. And he was talking about some stuff that I didn't really know about that we'll talk a little bit later. You know, some of the environmental problems they got on the South Side. So definitely be talking about that and more. We'll get to some more haps a little later on in the show and talk about some things that's going on in the meantime. Between time, I'm seeing you guys going off in the chat. Appreciate that very much. Sean McCarthy is giving us a good morning, everyone. RG is doubling down on Black Dynamite with the second hour. Ronald Harrison says social media had me laughing this weekend with the new Pope. Chicago has been acting up on social media, and now New Orleans is acting up because they found out his family is from New Orleans. Yeah,
man. Hey, new Pope is black, y'all.
New Pope got a drop of black, bro. People are chiming up.
Hey, if you squint and turn your head, like, yeah, okay, I see it.
Anthony Rogers Wright is giving me the answer I was looking for earlier. Douglas County Election Commission. Thank you for that. Yeah. If I don't write it down on the note, I can't think of it this early in the morning. So I appreciate you. Marlon Harris says, I feel like I don't see a lot of 18 to 30-year-old demographic talking about the mayor city council race. I wish we would have focused on that demographic of voters. I feel like there needs to be a lot of focus with younger folks in general on all kinds of stuff in this community.
Man.
All kinds of stuff. Of course, you guys have heard, there's been all over social media that Cinco de Mayo went down and there was a shooting and there was some trouble. And of course,
Hey, you stepping on my lead.
Stepping on the lead. Now, let me jump in and talk. My bad. Let me swing it over to Buddy. I got excited.
But yes, a lot of commotion around Cinco de Mayo and our babies. What to do with the youth, man? Apparently, there's some videos swirling around social media about the young folk not being, welcomed. And so a lot of commotion, a lot of opinions. Would definitely love to hear all of your thoughts on the situation that went down. As Paul mentioned, yes, a shooting, but also there's video swirling around about a vendor's tent was vandalized, some things were stolen, some children were arrested. Yeah, we're gonna get into all of that. So definitely continuing our conversation around youth and how the community is responding and handling its youth and what the youth is doing. So we're definitely going to jump into that. Also, as you mentioned, Paul, earlier, we did speak to our candidates, the remaining candidates over the weekend, and release some of those videos. So look out for that. Definitely a lot of good conversations coming out of those interviews, man. A lot of the candidates giving us some information. As you see, Brother Andrew Adams on the screen, he was talking about the car crushing situation in South Omaha. And again, as I look more into it, we talk a lot about the coal plant on the north side, and it seems like the car crushing situation is almost, as high on that community's list, talking about South Omaha, as it is on North Omaha's list. So definitely excited to talk more about that, to learn more about that, to raise awareness, as again, environmental issues are one of the main issues that a lot of our chat chimers and listeners have responded and said that they would love to talk about. And it is one of those things that impacts everybody, regardless of economic background, wherever you go, whoever you are. Air quality, we all breathe in the same air. So we'll definitely be talking about that. Of course, there's some things, some updates with the OHA housing situation, still fighting the towers. Again, we've been talking over the last couple of weeks of City View Apartments and the whole debacle surrounding that situation, finally getting into a receivership. But now the residents getting a packet that they may or may not be ready for. So yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that and more throughout the show. As Paul mentioned, we will be having our special guest of the day, possibly next mayor, Brother John Ewing, of course, Douglas County Treasurer, former police officer, and again, maybe your next mayor. So have your questions ready for that one. In the meantime, between time, about 15 minutes, a little over into the show. What's the word, man?
Yeah, man. Let's take a quick break. We'll come right back, jump into some conversation, and get ready for our special guest. Black Dynamite's cracking me up. Said, imagine the second line after that. Christy Norg gives us a good morning as well. Appreciate you coming on in this morning. I didn't get a chance to talk to you this season to see if you did any work like you had done in previous seasons for the vote. So if you did, if you got out there, if you were helping any of the campaigns, let us know. You and anybody else that did that. This is kind of the day to talk about it a little bit too. To see what's all been done. Tomorrow is the day. What's everybody's efforts been like? I'd love to hear about it. In the meantime, between time, we'll take a quick break and come right back and jump into the conversation. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy to God.
Hey.
Lead poisoning in children under 7 is scary, but it's also 100% preventable. Not only can lead be found in paint and soil, it can be found in many common spices, certain baby foods, and brought home from job sites. Children with lead poisoning might not show any symptoms until their levels are dangerously high. So ask your healthcare provider for a lead test for your child. You can help prevent lead poisoning in children.
Shout out to Douglas County Health Department for that message. We appreciate everybody who's on that. We're also working with the planning department on their lead campaign too. They're more about remediation in the yard. So you'll be seeing more of that coming up too. And later on in the year, we'll be doing a little deep dive on that. Just another rally to try to get everybody who is left to get their yards tested, get the word out to them. So still on this mission, speaking of environmental things in North Omaha, I think that's a lot. That's really particular to us over here. But there's a lot of lead stuff going on in South Omaha too, is what I understand as well. So the more we start learning about some of the environmental problems that is happening over in South Omaha, we'll see how much we have in common with that. Even one of the candidates even said that. They were like, "Hey, the coal plant don't just blow in North Omaha and stop. It drifts right on over to South." We're all breathing the same air, like Buddy said. So, so yeah, we'll keep an eye on environmental issues, and we have people in the chat like Anthony Rogers Wright, who's really very passionate about in environmental issues. We'll try to stay on top of it as much as we can, but always provide any information that you have, and we'll try to be continuing on to partner with some of these entities that can let us know what's happening. So, we appreciate it. Before we get into the conversation, Sue Kessler Hagen gives us a good morning. Appreciate that. Also, Christy Norris says, "No, I haven't been working a lot, but changing positions so I can be more involved." So yeah, work kind of got in the way of a lot of people, a lot of us on that stuff. So I appreciate you keeping that in mind and be more involved and have your personal situation be that. We're trying to do that over here too. We both work all the time and also try to do this and stay engaged. But yeah, it gets difficult. And especially when you want to be more involved than you can be at the time. So we appreciate your efforts. Also, Marlon Harrison says, "I went to the Cinco de Mayo festival during the day and it was fine. Only bad thing was that people weren't drinking enough water and were passing out." Really?
Man.
It's that hot out there, huh? Man. Yeah. Black Dynamite said, "New beat is fire."
Hey, thank you. Fire.
That's Buddy the God beat right there. That's Buddy the God. Hit him up. You know you need to put some lyrics on something.
Man, let me know.
Beats for sale.
Hey, shop is open. Let me know.
Hey, man, we need to put a shop on First Guy Omaha, a beat shop. That'd be dope.
hey, we can do it. We can do it. I got to talk to you about some stuff after the show anyway. But
let's do that. 7:22, if you believe in the concept of time. Buddy, what's first on the agenda here?
Yeah, man. Want to go ahead and dive into this OHA situation, just kind of get it out the way and just an update because we do have several other things and a special guest coming on later in the show. So I want to give enough time for that. But got to let you know about this situation. Again, we've been paying close attention to what's happening at the City View Apartments. Again, a lot of drama. Big shout out to Big Sherm, as we like to call him, Brother Sherman Wells, who kind of tipped us off to exactly how bad the situation is. I mean, kind of always heard whispers. Shout out to Aggie Kid, I don't think he lives in the building, but he lives in that area, and he talks a lot about the poor conditions of those buildings. But to actually see it, again, Brother Sherman Wells shared the video. To actually see it was another thing, and now here we are reaching a point that a lot of people maybe expected. Again, OHA, after City View has gone into receivership, according to this report from KMTV3, OHA has now stopped making payments to City View. Again, the OHA, the Omaha Housing Authority, again pays the City View apartments for the housing authority tenants that live in the building. However, that has stopped. Not only that, but the sign to move out has come along in the form of a packet. Again, move out packets have been handed out to tenants, which according to this report allows them to break their lease, which has been a big question of whether or not these tenants who are basically being trapped in these deplorable conditions, if they don't move out, then they have to face the conditions. If they do move out, then they have to break their lease and possibly have an eviction, have a bad rental record on their hands, which will make it that much harder to get into the next space. So again, things moving in the right direction, I guess you could say. If they're not going to fix it, then they definitely need to help people move out. But the question is, following that has always been, where do they go? Who's going to help these people who may or may not, have the first month, last month, and a deposit to move into another place? So I do want to give a shout out to Sister Tamika Meese and NOCP. Man, we don't give them enough credit, man. According to KMTV, NOCP is providing resources for residents on vouchers at City View, including moving assistance for those struggling to get out due to the elevators being broken. So again, not only actually physically getting out of the building, like getting your couch down to the ground floor, but once you get it there, what truck do you have? A U-Haul that you're going to pay for? You know, what are you going to do? Where you going to put it? A lot of questions that people don't have answers to. And again, big shout out to NOCP, who we need to talk about more, because they do a lot of that, moving people, helping, making sure that people are safe, not just in this situation, but when there's shootings, when there's, you know, situations where families don't feel safe, they need to move. And NOCP a lot of times is the organization stepping up quietly to help them with that. So big shout out.
My understanding is that the people in City View have to move. They don't have a choice. They can't stay. So and now they really can. If the ones who are under OHA, if OHA is going to stop payment, they're going to be out. And this the thing that they don't have to pay a fine. They got a voucher to be able to get out, to break the lease. But yeah, I mean, that's the least they can do if they are ordering them to. They don't have any choice. They got to move.
Right.
So that's the unfortunate part. So again, getting back to like what you're talking about here with organizations in North Omaha that's helping, where do they go? What kind of help is really where we need to put our focus. But yeah, this it was an update on that. The latest thing about this was, you know, they're sitting down with people saying, hey, you got to go. We're not going to make your rent payment anymore. You know, we're not paying that portion. And furthermore, here's how you can go without. Here's how you can break the lease so you can go. Haven't heard anything about where to put them after that. Seems like that'd be the natural progression of OHA's conversation, but I'm not seeing anything yet about that.
No, is that, and that question is not a new question. Like, the question has been swirling around, where are these people going to go? And you know, the lack of a plan has been concerning from the city. So we'll definitely keep our eyes on that situation. If anyone has any resources for that family, maybe reach out to NOCP, again, North Omaha Community Partnership, or Brother Sherman Wells, Paul Fowlman, or any of the individuals in the community that's involved.
Absolutely.
Moving along into another issue that is quite surprising, but interesting. I won't say not surprising, actually. This is something that's been going on in South Omaha, not really to our attention, but the alarm is being rang now that apparently City Council approved You Pull It to come back. If you're not familiar, You Pull It, again, the yard, the salvage yard in South Omaha. A lot of people, again, you can go there, pull parts, but they also smash and crush cars, which has been apparently a point of contention in that community for some years, actually. There's no new reports that I'm seeing, but we do have a report from back in August of last year, which is talking about the time when the area, or the car crushing activities, I guess I can phrase it that way, stopped because there were some environmental issues. There were some, again, things that You Pull It was supposed to do to make sure that the community was safe, to make sure that pollution, air pollution, some of the runoff into the water would not be a case, and that wasn't. And again, those activities stopped, but it has been since, I guess, allowed to come back. And that is a point of contention that we learned from one of our candidates. I think it was Brother Mark Brennan, or no, Andrew Adams. Andrew Adams was the one that tipped us off. But I'm seeing a lot of people on social media posting about it from the community, and again, making comparisons between that situation and the coal plant in North Omaha. Again, apparently when those cars are crushed, a lot of the aerosol, a lot of the chemicals that are used to make these cars go into the air. Also, there's some runoff from this machinery into the water. I do believe that location is right on the Papio River, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, very, very close to a major water fair. And again, there's no history of You Pull It, showing any interest in having environmental protections and making sure that they're taking care of the community surrounding it. So definitely something, again, that we're just learning about. Would definitely love to hear from anybody who has any more information on the situation. But yeah, ringing the alarm. North Omaha got the coal plant, and apparently South Omaha has a car incinerator. Can't let it go. What say you, Paul?
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely something that I didn't know about, and had to and kind of found out about after interviewing Andrew Adams the other day, and hearing about it. And I've used You Pull It. We've all have. I want there to be a place like that for us to be able to fix the vehicles that we got without having to pay an arm and a leg. And for those of us that work on cars as well, it's been invaluable. My mechanic is the cat that goes to these places all the time and pulls stuff, and it slashes my car payment, my car bill in half
Mm.
sometimes. So yeah, they just got to find the right kind of environment, environmental situations for them to be able to exist if they can. So people that are on it like that. Andrew Adams, who's running for District 4 right now, that's kind of one of his talking points as well. So if it's on their mind, we didn't get a chance to talk to Ron Hug. He didn't get back at us, back to us when we reached out for an interview. So I don't know where he stands on it. Also, seeing something about him in the chat too. Heather Williams says, I saw Kimmer's live. Ron Hug is wrong for that. Missed that
Yeah,
one.
yeah, he's a part of the decision, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he was the one that was appointed to his seat. He wasn't necessarily elected. He was appointed after the whole Pace situation in South Omaha.
Okay.
And yeah, I believe he was a part of the decision to bring, to grant you pull it that contract and allow them to do that again after they had troubles in the past.
Tough
But
situation. Yeah, tough situation because like I said, I can see I can see why it should be there, but it does have to be there in the right circumstances, and that's all we can really say on that one. That's tough. That's a tough one. So, yeah, what say you? We'll put it to the chat as well. Love to hear about what you think about this particular subject. Do you live in that area? Are you having? Is there anything that's gone on that's happened to you personally that has caused you to, feel that way, or feel like you needed to do something about a change, or they need to make a change? Kind of really would love to hear about that. So, yeah, let us know in the chat, and also Friends of First Sky Omaha if you would. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm trying to work with getting our guest on here. So, yeah.
You good? Actually, we're about 30 minutes in. You want to take a quick break? Smell the coffee beans a little bit?
Yeah, we can now. Yes. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Get something going here.
Oh.
Paul. Yeah. Let me do the breaks. I'm Paul B, buddy to God. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
My bad.
Yeah. Right near the beach. Welcome back.
Hey.
Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, buddy to God. All of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, and monitoring spirits. Appreciate you joining us. 7:33 right now. If you believe in the concept of time and you live in Omaha, Nebraska. Yeah, man, it's going down. Anthony Rogers right in the chat is saying clearly we need special elections after a city council member is removed rather than they picking the next person. That is not democracy. Yeah, they had some issues going over there.
Yeah.
What you talking about, RG? Looks like Maxwell Jacob Friedman. That's funny. Appreciate you guys joining us. Also, RG says BZ got that look on his face like I used to have back when I was a bouncer at the club and was going to jump into action. It's funny. I used to do security at clubs, and so I'm sure that look is held over from those days. I have to tell you guys a story about that one time because one of the wildest times was when Boys to Men security got in a fight with Jodeci's security team in the back of the Palladium. It was wild. It was wild. Let me. I'm getting a call here from our guest. Hold on. Let me throw this back over to you, buddy.
Yeah, I got a story. We can go ahead and tee it up. All right. So yeah, still tuned in while my man Paul B gets our guest in straight. Let's go ahead and tee it up, man. Kind of the conversation of the day. I see a few people checking in. Brother Aaron Gregory. Good morning, brother. He says, "Good morning, brothers." Also, T Rand checking in, saying anti-regulation, anti-environment. So, of course, uplift contract was, or I believe saying you pull it. Oh, there you go. Contract was revived. Yeah. Very interesting situation. Definitely would love to hear your thoughts on that. But as we pivot, would definitely love to hear your thoughts on this whole Cinco de Mayo situation. Again, a lot of controversy, a lot of conversation happening over the weekend. Of course, the Cinco de Mayo festivities kicked off, and it seems like pretty good turnout. Thousands and thousands of people from what I'm hearing in both the daytime and nighttime portions of the festivities. But as we see, there's some some bad situations coming out of that as far as video swirling. From what I saw, again, there's video swirling of some young people stealing. There was a vendor whose tent was destroyed. But again, this is something else a little worse than that. Apparently, there was a shooting that I'm just now hearing about. This being reported by KETV, and apparently a 15-year-old and a younger person is in custody on charges pending against actually 3 other juveniles from this shooting. And we've been talking about it. I really don't even want to dive too much into the story itself. We know the conversation that's been had. Again, young folk at the topic of the conversation. Of course, they're trying to lock up our young folk. Shout out to brother Chrome Lewis, who shared a post saying basically that he was at the meeting. He was a part of the planning of the situation. Thank you for that, Paul. And as you see on the screen, again, his concern was that there was intention to not have anything for these young folk to do. He says, I was in a meeting and it was stated that the Cinco de Mayo committee purposely and intentionally did not have any rides this year for teenagers. They actually bought it, thought it was smart not to have, in their words, quote unquote, big kid rides this year. However, he says, I guess they thought it would deter teenagers from coming, but it backfired. Again, he says it wasn't smart at all. The intention of not having anything to do for the young folk. Of course, there was a shooting that happened. There were fights that happened. And this is something that I've been saying for a while. And I think our special guest is going to be joining us here in a second, which I would love to, ask him as a former police officer, his thoughts on that. So let's go ahead and bring him in, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, brother, your next mayor, possibly, John Ewing in the house. Good morning. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing great, and sorry for the delay. I was trying to get in and couldn't get in. Then we switched over to Safari. So thank you all for being patient with me.
No problem. I got to tell you, we deal with tech issues all the time on this live show. So don't worry about it. We dealt with some this morning ourselves. So appreciate you taking the time to join us this morning with this.
Absolutely.
This being the day before the generals, and I know that you're really busy with the campaign, so I appreciate you getting up early with us.
Yes, absolutely.
How you doing?
It's good. I'm doing great, and I hope you guys are doing well too, but I think it's important to be responsive. So I've tried to make every podcast, every interview, every candidate forum, every invitation from the community, because I think at the end of the day, you have to always remember you work for the people.
Indeed.
Very much so. Yeah. We've been seeing you all over the place. Like I said, you have been very busy. There's been tons of debates and podcasts and things going on our particular page. You got a lot of soldiers out here that are putting your stuff up on ours, just flooding our page. So we've heard of where you stand and what you on, and we definitely got some questions. That's beyond some of the things that we've been hearing you speak of before, just in your general campaign. So. We're glad you made it, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw it over to Buddy. I know Buddy is itching to has a couple questions that he wants to jump into. Buddy, what's up?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you. What happened to you?
Remember it did the same time last time. The tech, I don't know, man.
You see what we saying? Tech be teching, man.
Yeah. But yes. Thank you for joining us. Just first of all,
Absolutely.
Just how has the campaign trail treated you? The response to the people. How's this been?
Sure. The response from the people is absolutely amazing. I truly believe we put in the work and we've made the right contacts, and we've given the voters something to believe in and hope in. And I believe we've got a great chance to win tomorrow night.
Big time, big time. From what I've seen, there's definitely a lot of excitement and energy around your campaign. And I guess let's go ahead and dive in. Like Paul said, there's been a
Absolutely.
lot of conversation. You've been in a lot of debates. And we were kind of talking about one of the big issues, the big conversations that have been happening in our community as far as public safety, young folks. Of course, there's been some incidents over the weekend at the Cinco de Mayo situation. I guess, in general, before we get into the particulars, your thoughts about, our youth, how the conversation is happening, some of the things happening at the state level, and how to direct that conversation.
Sure. Well, I'll start with the state level, and I've said this many times. I don't believe we should be looking to prosecute our 11 and 12-year-old young men, young girls as adults. I believe we need to make sure that we are doing everything we can as adults to give them the positive alternatives to keep them engaged in school so that they can have an opportunity to be successful. And when we need to do intervention, we need to look at making sure we're providing the right services to our young people as well as to their families, because a lot of times we're expecting people to do things that they've never seen before. And in order to do that, you have to teach them. So I think we have to do much more when it comes to education, when it comes to intervention, in a way that help strengthen the young people and the families' commitment to each other and to our community.
Okay.
Okay.
I heard you speak over at an event one time, and I think I started to talk to you about this question as well, because we talked about detaining 11-year-olds and how you're against that, and I was wondering how you reconcile the fact that you are also pro. Let's bring on 100 cops, 150 more
Sure.
police officers. How do you navigate that with understanding that those police officers are going to be in our communities arresting our kids?
Well, I think what we have to look at is what those 100 police officers would be for. What I am definitely pro good policing. And that means community policing. That means working with the community. That means listening to the community. That means developing relationships with the community so that we can police with them rather than do policing to them. So when I talk about 100 more police officers, I'm talking about so they can get back to some of the things we did when I was there. We had a district awareness program, as an example, where you were supposed to make connections with all of the business owners and the churches and all of those organizations to be able to build relationships with them so that you could be of assistance to them. We also have the crime prevention programs that we had when I was there, where we had a business watch, we had neighborhood watches, neighborhood associations. So when I talk about 100 more police officers, I'm talking about so they can get back to community policing and have the time to build relationships. And I talked to a couple of young officers just the other day at an event, and they heard me speak. And then after I was done, I talked to them and they said, that's really what we want to do, is we want to get back to being able to do community policing, spending time with the people in the community so we can build relationships rather than just running from call to call and not being able to actually work with the people. So that's the difference between me and maybe my opponent. She wants to have more police officers to do what they're already doing today. I want to have more police officers so we can get back to doing the things we're supposed to be doing as an organization.
Right
Nice.
on. Along the lines of our youth, that we kind of been talking about this today, and Buddy and I discussed this a little earlier before the show. I'm always feeling like there's not anything out there for the youth, or in particularly Black youth, and particularly people from our community. The Cinco de Mayo thing really incited me because I was feeling like, why wouldn't I go over there and act a fool? Nothing has been set up for us. Nothing has been set up for young Black kids. As a matter of fact, whenever there's an event like that, they actually kind of work against. Like we hope they don't show up. Instead of saying we know that our Black youth are going to show up to this thing, let's put something in place for them, and then the Black youth can go somewhere and feel like there's something for them. If you win as mayor, what kind of things would you put in place for our youth? Especially from the ages that the troubles is starting, that 15 to 22, 23-year-old age. What are some of the things that you would champion to put in place in order to be able to entertain those young adults?
So I'm going to back up from that age to where I think the real problem starts. I
Mm,
think a lot of times the problem starts when our young people are 8, 9, 10, 11 years old,
wow.
and they then aren't able to be successful academically. And then they eventually keep going through school. They're still not having success and they drop out of society. What I
Mm,
want to do is start with early education programs with the districts to help our young people be able to be successful by the time they're in the third grade. One of the things I know, having looked at this for a lot of years and having talked to a lot of people, if our young people aren't reading to learn by the third grade, they're falling behind, because that's where a huge transition happens in education, where if you are reading to learn, then you can learn all the material and you have a chance to be successful. If you're still trying to learn to read, then all of it just kind of piles on and it keeps piling on and you keep falling back. So that's the first thing I want to do, is look at how we can help young people be successful. Then one of the things we've done here that I'm particularly proud of is our Step Up Summer Jobs program for our young people, to expose them to the possibilities of life. We want them to be able to see that they can be gainfully employed and have a career and even be entrepreneurs and things of that nature. So even with our program that the Empowerment Network has done, that has changed over the years from just having them be employees to helping them be able to figure out how to start their own businesses. So I think we keep doing those type of things in terms of the positive things. Then we do have to figure out what type of recreational and other things that we're going to allow our young people to do who aren't actively involved in sports. A lot of our young people, when they're involved in sports, that can kind of help keep them out of trouble. But we've also got to figure out youth uh, recreation centers and things of that nature, and do more with our mentoring programs so that we can keep our young people engaged and have them do productive things during the school year as well.
Yeah, sounds good.
nice, nice.
Before we get off of this subject here, Anthony Rogers right in the chat is asking a question connected. He says, could there be community policing without accountability policing and a truly independent citizen complaint review board that the people vote for rather than a mayor appointing them? Can we tighten up this citizen review board? Is that something that you think is needed? Is that something that you would work for as mayor?
I think in order to have community policing, you have to have accountability. Now, I don't know if I can tell you exactly what that looks like, but I'm certainly willing to listen to the people of this
Mm,
community. And I'm certainly willing to listen to the city council as well, because they would be the ones that would have to propose any ordinance. But I think we have to have that accountability. And I think it's easier to have that accountability when you do have community policing. So I think the two go hand in hand. I
mm,
tell people I am pro good policing, and that's listening to the community, that's taking their priorities, that's implementing their priorities, then that's reporting out to them, then that's doing any adjustment that you need to do, and having communication with the people so that we are doing policing that helps them in their community. It's not about just going in and doing policing to people. And that's the one thing I've said consistently, even when I was on the job. We have to be working with people in order to address their issues, instead of the belief that we are the experts and we have all the answers. I don't know anybody that has all the answers about anything. So I'm always willing to listen and look at what the people want, and understanding this is my 44th year now
mm.
of public service. And I believe that I'm accountable to the people. I've never forgotten that. And you guys missed your cue. You're supposed to say I look much too young to have been doing this long.
40 plus years is definitely a surprise. It's quite a career.
And we already knew that, by the way. Black don't crack, they say.
Hey, man, hey.
but also beige don't age. So we covered everywhere. Appreciate that, man. Go ahead, buddy. I know you were gonna jump in there.
Yeah, I did have a question. Because you mentioned the empowerment network and we're talking about accountability, and one of the models for accountability that we know are out there, whether you believe it works or not, I'll leave that to the people for their own opinion. But the Omaha 360 situation,
yes.
and just your position as leadership with the empowerment network, I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts on how the empowerment network model may take another step if you're becoming mayor. Like how much of the empowerment network model informs what you will do as mayor.
Sure. Well, I strongly believe in the empowerment network because it was grassroots. It was about the community coming together and then saying, here's what we'd like to see in a number of areas: housing, education, crime prevention, the health care, all of those type of things. So I believe in that type of model. Was really built on Tavis Smiley's covenant with Black America. And so what we did very intentionally, we took a Black man and a Black woman, and they were experts in their particular field, and they led that field working with the community. So when we first started, myself and Teresa Negron, who was a sergeant on the police department, now runs U-Turn, were the co-chairs of the Crime Prevention Covenant. And that eventually led into 360 and some of the other efforts. And what I look at is when you bring people together and you try to find a common basis, great things can happen. So as an example, we reduced gun violence in Omaha by 70%. And we were one of 4 model communities as designated by President Barack Obama's foundation. And so I believe that model works. Now, is it perfect? Of course not. Can it be more inclusive? Of course. One of the things I would do as mayor is step down from any leadership with that organization, because I believe I don't ever want to have any conflicts or have people believe that they can't talk to me if they're not part of a certain group. But I believe there's an opportunity to continue to build and trying to get more and more people engaged with that model or other things where we're really doing grassroots work. The more you listen and the more you implement the suggestions and solutions of the community, the greater chance you have of success. And that's what we've been trying to do. And that's what we've actually started doing with a number of cities across the country. There are about 30 different communities that want to do the 360 model. And what we're trying to get them to understand is that all of it works together: housing, employment, healthcare, education, all of those things work, arts, all of those things work together to build a truly empowered community.
Along those lines, a lot of people, I'm wondering right now myself too. You say that the 360 meetings have resulted in a drop in gun violence. What is how does that work? How does the groups getting together and sitting around and talking to each other and coming up with solutions? What's the next step? How does it get down to the lack of gun violence? Are guns being taken away, or are the groups make a plan and then other organizations that are actually working with the youth help the youth to stop with the gun? How does it
Sure.
tell me how it works? Yeah.
Sure, it's a combination of things. Certainly, you have U-Turn on one end, which has been extremely helpful in this respect. If there is a shooting, they are trying to interrupt the violence and stop retaliation. One of the things we saw was that if you had a shooting with one particular gang set, then they would retaliate. And so you might have 4 or 5 shootings that actually result from one incident. But if you can interrupt that then that helps tremendously. If the police department gets information to be able to solve the crime, that helps tremendously. If people trust the police department and what the police department is doing in an investigation, that helps as well. So I think it's really breaking down all of those silos and bringing people together to address specific issues each week. And when you do that and people feel like they have a voice, they're more likely to cooperate, they're more likely to share information. I'll give you an example. The Omaha Police Department, I can't remember if it was last year or 2023, but they had a 100% clearance rate for homicides.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, that's 50 to 60% for police departments, and some of them are significantly lower than that. So by bringing it all together, having the right people in the room, you break down silos, you break down barriers that keep people from talking, and people work together to address the issues. So it's really about bringing people together, addressing issues, building trust. And that's a huge part of community policing.
So, and just to be clear, a clearance rate, 100% clearance rate. Clearance rate means that a homicide occurred. They figured out. They've solved the
Yes.
case, and somebody got arrested for the crime. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. It's 7:55 right now. If you guys believe in the concept of time, we're here with John Ewing, who might be your next mayor. We appreciate your questions and your comments that are in the chat. I'm not going to read them all, but I appreciate those, and I also appreciate you, Brother Ewing, for staying a little bit longer than we expected.
Absolutely. Well, I apologize for, like I said, getting on late. So I owed you the opportunity to stay on a little bit longer.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before we get to our next one, I want to jump back in, shift gears a little bit. Anthony Rogers right in the chat is asking, with LB 266 now signed into law, what's Mr. Ewing's plan to keep rent affordable? Will he stand up to MOPOA and work to get the 2015 consent decree vacated? We talk a lot about that dissent decree. We talk a lot about this on the channel. And you even said earlier, it's not just crime prevention, but it entails everything, 360 viewpoint of everything, which includes housing. So what's your stance there?
Sure. I don't know if people have heard me say this because they may not have been watching the debates. They may not have been at the community forums. But one of the things I have said is that if we need to, I would be willing to challenge that consent decree.
Okay.
The second thing is I have been very vocal about City View and Legacy Crossing and the former Tommy Rose Garden and all of those things in terms of people not being housed in what I call decent and affordable housing. I served on the Habitat for Humanity Board of Directors for 6 years. And that's one of the things I believe in. It can't just be affordable. It has to be decent, clean, safe housing.
Right.
The other thing I've said, and I've criticized OHA and tried to meet with their executive director. When I become mayor, that's one of the meetings I'm going to have. And then they're going to have to explain to me what they're doing to remediate the bed bugs at the OHA towers and some of the other conditions. And I said in the last debate that if I didn't see the results I wanted to see, I'd fire the board and replace them and get a new executive director. So I've been very strong on housing issues because I believe in the basic fundamental right to have decent, affordable housing. The other thing that one of the city council candidates has talked about, and I agree with, is if someone buys a particular property and then they come in, instead of being able to just raise rents and do what they want, they would like a city ordinance that would require the people to honor whatever lease is already in place. And if that was something that was passed in the law, then I would sign it.
Okay.
I just learned myself that the mayor and city council are responsible for appointing that board, OHA, and
I think that's 100% mayor.
100% mayor. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
So
is nice, because the current mayor, tends to act like she can't do anything about the situation, and she's completely powerless about that. So to see to even to hear to even you say that I'm going to do something about it is refreshing.
big time, big time.
Well, they at least show us answers about what they're doing. And then if we're satisfied with the progress they're making, that's a different story. But to not
Right.
be responsive at all is not acceptable.
At all.
Big time. We're getting close to the end here. I do want to jump back in. Chad Chimer, Lucia Pedrosa Estrada is asking a question. How, going back to this 360, how would you evaluate and improve the 360 model so that it becomes more grassroots again? One example I have is making meetings and engagement more accessible, but how else would you say?
Well, I like the ideal of making it more accessible. And I know right now we're doing primarily 2 o'clock on Wednesday afternoons, which might make it more difficult for some people to attend or even be able to tune in. But I would like to have them figure it out because, as I said, as mayor, I'm going to step away from all of that. But I would challenge them to look at ways that they can make it more accessible. And maybe we do a lot of things on Saturdays now, but I would like to see them maybe move that 360 time around sometimes and maybe even the location so that it does become more accessible, and then taking advantage of technology as well. So people who can't make it physically can still be engaged.
Yeah, with that. Appreciate that very much. We're at the end of the show right now. As a matter of fact, we kind of ran up right into the end of the show. There's plenty of more questions in the chat. Highly encourage you to go back and check those out, and maybe we can answer some of those. Maybe you can answer some of those directly. And you can also always send your question to your email address. Is that right, Brother Ewing?
Yes, that's what I was going to ask you to do. If you could just send the questions to me and we'll see if we can get them answered. It might be a while because I've got to try to get elected here over the next couple of days.
What's your email address? I'll throw that in the chat right now.
Sure. John@ewingforomaha.com.
Omaha.com. We'll go ahead and send your questions over to him as well. And I really appreciate you taking the time. Like I said, I knew that you were going to, I know it's going to be busy. Tomorrow is vote day. I know that we're trying to get everybody out. I still got to ask you this one question. It's burned in my brain. And this is totally off the issues, but raising funds for running your campaign. It's been in the news that you're almost matching Stothard's fundraising. Between the two of you guys, it's been over $1 million. And I always wondered this question: does more money mean guaranteed win? How does the money work? Where does the money go? And why is raising money such an important thing in a race?
Sure. So first of all, money doesn't guarantee anything. If you look at the primary, I had significantly less money than Gene Stothard and Mike McDonald. So I think my reputation, my 43 years of public service made a big difference, as well as going out and being everywhere that we could be, knocking doors, making phone calls, all of those type of things. So you still have to do the work. What money allows me to do in this general is counter some of the negativity that we've seen with the other campaign. So if you look at my commercials, it's very clear that she is tied to Donald Trump at the hip. So I made sure people were aware of that, and that I'm going to be a mayor for all of the people, and that I am going to get things done for this community. If you look at one of our debates, they asked her to say what she liked about what I've done. Then she talked about what a great job I did in the police department, what a great job I've done as treasurer. But then she runs all the ads. So we just play her words back for people to hear. We remind them of our record, and then we ask, why is she lying about my record? And then we play her words again. If we didn't have money to be able to do that, then her words and all of the things she's trying to bring in would go unchallenged. So that's where the money helps. And then the second thing is in terms of money, it allows me to be able to get my positive message out there as well. So we have resources to knock more doors. We have resources to make more calls. We have resources to be in the various social media arenas doing advertising as well.
Got it. Well, it always was a mystery to me because I never I'm not one to be looking at a commercial and letting it sway me one way or another. I'm always looking at what I'm trying to look at. And I can't imagine sometimes some of these things that you see on it sound so ridiculous and why anybody would even be swayed by those things. So I just couldn't see how media money helped. You know, I guess it helps the people that aren't paying that close of attention. I'm not sure, but
Hey, plays a part.
yeah. But anyway, I appreciate you taking the time to answer that question. I've
Absolutely.
always wanted to ask somebody. Yeah, running. Yeah, what that was about. It's about time for us to get on out of here, buddy. You have anything final that you want to jump in real quick before we go?
Nothing real quick. There's a bunch of topics to still dive into, a bunch of questions. But 24 hours, 24 hours, we will find out what's really going on. I guess my last question to you is there any issues, anything that people really haven't been talking about? Is there something that really hasn't been on the radar that you kind of feel in yourself like we need to be paying attention to this thing as well?
I think there's been some talk about economic development, but I don't believe that there's really been enough attention paid to that by the community. That is one of my top priorities, to look at expanding that urban core that they're working on further north and further south, so that we can put economic development, true intentional economic development, into North and South Omaha. We've got far too many vacant lots in North Omaha. We've got far too many buildings that could use a refresh and maybe some renovation in South Omaha. So I want to be able to do those type of things so that we can build an economy in this city that works for all people. So that's my biggest push, because I believe if you can do those things, then you can strengthen families, you can give families resources to be able to provide opportunities for their young people, and then we can really help strengthen and build families.
Yeah.
There you go. As treasurer, I'm sure you have a pretty unique and interesting, perspective and insight on, economic development, some areas people might be missing out on. So, definitely love at some point to hear more of your thoughts on that, even if you don't win. Again, just love to continue to have the conversation of what that looks like as a community. Again, you got the support. Hopefully you do win. But let's continue to talk.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming, and I appreciate you not calling me out on owing you some money on my car registration. I get it. I'm gonna get it to you. I promise.
Okay.
Good luck in the race, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you both.
All right. Have a good one.
Peace.
All right. There you
There you go, ladies and gents.
Yeah, man.
Sorry we couldn't get to everybody's questions, but thank you for your questions. So again, we posted the email out there, but I mean, it's been debate, it's been conversation. 24 hours, you know what to do.
And I'll go ahead and hit him up on his email address with the questions that you have. I appreciate them. I'm sorry I didn't get to all of them. There were some really great ones in here too. But we just were limited on time in this, and also limited on the tech, man. I want to apologize for that as well. It's no fault of anybody except maybe Cox Cable. I don't know, or whatever. But this is what happens. It's unfortunate that the tech had messed up his camera feed, his the internet as well slowed him down. The internet also made it so that his voice wasn't coming through clean. That wasn't in any of his fault. That was definitely just the tech. This is the reason why we have been doing some of the stuff we've been doing with just going and talking to the candidates face to face and recording them, and and getting their take on things without the frustration of the tech. So again, we're doing the best we can on here as far as live is concerned, and this is what happens when you're live. And I just want to apologize for that. But if you miss any parts of his interview, you can still decipher what it is that he's about and what he's saying. I highly suggest you go back and check it out on YouTube. While you're over there, like and subscribe, and you can check out all the previous shows on YouTube as well. And so we definitely encourage you to do that, and tell a friend, spread the word. And again, like Buddy's saying, we'll have him back again, whether he wins or not. There's some things I definitely value the fact that he has been in leadership for over 40 years in our community, and there's lots of things to talk to him about, whether he's running for mayor or not. So we'll definitely come back to it at some point.
Yeah. I mean, just as treasurer, following the money, we still doing that, man. So yeah, figuring it out will be very interesting. And here we are apologizing and giving disclaimers and things, and the people still giving us love, man. Vicky Young says a great interview in the morning. See what you did there. Mama God also says it was a good 30 minutes. Again, appreciate the feedback, and hopefully we did some good with that. Helped out your decision making.
Absolutely. We'll continue to do what we can on this, and in the meantime, between time, we're going to go ahead and shut it down here. We got special guest Dave Pontos coming on Wednesday. So we can talk a little bit more about this Tennis United and some more housing issues here. He's been volunteering his time and effort as a lawyer, doing pro bono work to help people with their rental situation. And he's now mixed up with the situation with Tennis United, where there are landlords teaming up to try to shut down organizations that are trying to help the people understand their rights. So I can't wait to hear from him as well. We'll be talking to him. And of course, Wednesday, we'll also be talking about election results at that point, too. You already know from the primaries that they kind of trickle in all week. So we'll see where we stand. But hopefully by Wednesday, we'll know whether or not we have a new mayor. And that'll be a very interesting situation for sure.
Man.
So meantime, between time, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Appreciate you guys very much. Again, I'm sorry that we didn't get to engage in the chat as much as we wanted to. There's some great questions. Go back and check those questions out if you can, and send your questions to his email address, john@ewingforomaha.org, was it? .com. Yep. Appreciate it. Buddy, you got some words for the people?
Yeah, man. As always, man, just appreciate your support. Appreciate y'all coming through. Hopefully, we're doing some good. Hopefully you're going away with some answers, some things, some food for thought to start your day. And come back same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. And we'll do it again. Until next time, Paul B. Take it away, man.
Right on. Thank you. Shout out to Umaha Tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to you, our elders, for allowing us to speak before you, and also coming on to the chat to speak with us. And shout out to you, the chat chimers, for allowing us to speak with you and ask your questions. Great questions today, great comments today. Really appreciate everybody's input, and I really respect everybody's respectful nature too. A lot of people on the chat and chat chimers and some of the ghost listeners don't agree with him. They want Stothard, or they don't think that he's is different, is separated enough from what Stothard's about. And I want to hold them accountable too. But everybody came on with very respectful questions in a way to do that we can hopefully get somewhere and get some answers. And maybe there was something that swayed you. We hope so. You got to make the decision. Tomorrow is vote day. So definitely, again, reminding you, tomorrow is vote day. Peep your polling place, because it may have changed. Make sure you double check on that today, so you go to the right place tomorrow. And make sure your ID is handy. And man, let's look at these races and figure out what we're doing. I know that I study right up until I'm standing there sometimes. So, it could change. I have a strong feeling of where I'm going, but lots can happen in 24 hours in a big way. You can find out another piece of information that turns you off or turns you on. So just never know.
Man.
With that, we'll go ahead and get out of here, and can't wait for to find out which way you guys went in the election tomorrow. We'll talk Wednesday with Dave Pontos. And meantime, between time, check your air conditioners and change your filters. It's going to be 90 degrees on Tuesday.
Man, hot.
Summer is here. It's going down. Yep. We'll see you guys. Take care of yourselves.
Peace.
By the way, Van Glorious. This is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad, with the key.
By any